On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, looking back and moving forward. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I am joined remote today by your financial coach, George Corbello. George, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy 2025. I can't believe the year is almost done. Doing well. My kids are, oldest is almost done with finals for the semester, so they'll be home visiting and annoying us during the holiday. I didn't mean that, honey. And then my youngest is, there. She's getting ready college. All the college responses and still applying for some of the colleges. So we're about halfway through that process. Very stressful. And then all these rules changes that are being proposed from the Department of Education when it comes to loans and FAFSA. So there's a lot of unknown and ambiguity that we're kind of running through too right now. So yeah, hopefully it'll be a great 2026 and something works. That's what I'm hoping for. But doing good, man. Doing good. Seriously.
Have, has your daughter gotten any acceptances yet?
Yeah, she's gotten a few acceptances. She's gotten a few rejections. She did get rejected from her top school that she was looking to go through. So that was a little bit of a bum. But a lot of these schools, when it comes to like, creative arts and musical theater and those kind of things, they're competitive because there's, not a lot of slots. So it's one of those kind of things where she's talented, but maybe it's something they weren't looking for. They were looking for something else. So it's like, okay, cool. So she still has, a lot of her top five schools still available to her. So it's kind of just seeing which ones are going to be the right fit and, which ones dad can afford. Because that one's the hard part right there. It's like, geez, as much as
Uh,
I'm a good financial coach, but again, the money don't grow on trees. We still gotta do our budgets to make sure these kids can get to school.
well, I'm sure wherever it is that she ultimately decides to go, they will benefit from having her there. So,
Yeah, I would agree. And she's a talented girl, and I think it's just finding the right place. But hopefully it's not, $8 million, at the please, can we get community college prices? Can we do that? Is that an option? Can I put that in my wish list
well,
for
I
Christmas?
think you can if she actually goes to community college. You
Yeah.
probably can.
Yeah, I don't think that's an option at this point. So
What
we'll have to see.
one of the things I learned is that all these community colleges are changing their names. They're trying to get away from the
Yeah,
moniker of community college.
correct. Yeah, the 2 year
So,
associate schools to 2 year schools. They're colleges, right? They're just colleges. You want to go to, come to this type of college. I mean, for me, it's like those first 2 years in college are always an interesting one anyway, because if you're not specializing, it's all general knowledge anyway, general education credits anyway. So I don't know. It's if you can save yourself money on those first 2 years of credits and still get them transferred over to the bigger school, that's not a bad idea.
so what would stand out to you so far in 2025? How has 2025 been for you?
2025. Let's see. Well, it feels like, it feels like it's been the roller coaster. I'm on the roller coaster, but the seat handle seems to be loose. Like I'm thinking I'm safe, but I feel like, like that little shaking there. Um, it's been, again, I'm not going to complain, right? Kids are healthy. We're healthy from a family standpoint. Again, I'm year two in the house. So
That's
we're
right.
very happy about that, very grateful. And yes, my property taxes went up. Yay! So, those are always fun, right? So from a personal standpoint, we've had some great some really good accomplishments from a parent standpoint. Again, starting senior year for two kids, having a great start from that standpoint. We had some purchases, we did get used cars. We did get cars, but they were used. I did get this latest. My newest car was the latest 2010 Honda CRV. I was very happy. It has a sunroof and everything. It was a really,
Wow.
really nice ride. Only 155,000 miles. It was really good deal. Paid in cash, so I was very happy about those kind of things. And yes, I got the nice feature that the check engine light just stays on. It's a really, really nice feature that I've had as part of that car. But it
Oh,
drives well.
when it's really late at night, it helps illuminate inside of the car.
It has four doors, it's got four wheels, and the windows work. And the AC, of course, here in Florida, the AC works. Uh,
Well, that's so the one big thing that I'll have to plan for 2026. You mentioned cars. My older son turns 15 in October, this coming October. So I'll have to teach him how to start driving come October. So
Yay.
I'll be
That's gonna
on
be
that
fun.
I'll be on that wonderful journey.
Oh, dude, you're only 2 years away from from you get the learner's permit, but then you get the license at 16. And then of course, once that license is obtained, that insurance gets it gets tagged. So just
I
just be ready. That's gonna be
Well,
fun, fun
and
times.
based on how he drove the golf cart at the golf tournament we had about a month ago, a month and a half ago, he needs a lot of work
You got a
on
lot
how
of
to drive a car. So
he was using the two wheels instead of the four. Is that, he was on the side a lot. He was like,
he didn't believe in the brake.
well, there you go.
If I had not hit the brake, we would have taken out
You would have
people
been
and
in the pond.
animals and people and
Oh my God,
barriers
that's
and
great. That's great. So I mean, so for me, some other, like for me, changing insurance. So we saving money on insurance. Again, I'm always looking at the budget, right? How can we save money? How we can, have more money so we can do other things. So that was the kind of the big things for us. We took trips. We took a nice big trip with friends to Dominican Republic. So that was really nice this year. Kids wise, I did again. So it was two cars. I got my daughter. We got her a car as well, used car. That one not so good. Again, that's still. Yeah, I would call it lemon, but it's in the shop right now. But I've put a lot more money into that car. For the value of the car I spent, I put as much of it back into the car. Which again, maybe I should have thought about it twice on that. But again, I'm not a mechanic, right? It's one of those kind of things. I only play one on TV.
right.
So, but
But
yeah, other than that, from a personal standpoint, I gotta say it was a good year. So how about
yeah,
you personally? We'll do the business next, but personally, how was it for you, my friend?
yeah. Personally, I think I agree with you. I mean, this was the to the second year that my wife's been gone, the first
Mm-hmm.
year that my father's been gone. So
Right.
I was talking to a friend of mine about this earlier today, as a matter of fact. Grief is not something that goes away. Grief is not
Right.
something that gets better.
Yeah.
It's just something you learn to incorporate into your life. And so it's always there and it's always going to be there,
Sure.
but it's something that it doesn't weigh on me as much in year two as it did in year one. It doesn't bring me down as much. I mean, there's
Right.
certainly, I have my good days, I have my bad days, but the more time, the more distance, the more you learn to
It's managing.
incorporate it, the more you learn that I've got to be there for the boys.
Yeah.
I've got to be there for my family. I've got to be there for this one and that one. I've got to call my mom probably as soon as we're done with this recording and help her balance her checkbook.
There you go.
So, but other
Always
than that,
crushing debt,
yeah,
even with mom there. I love that.
yeah. Which part of me is like, Mom, the math,
No.
but whatever. She wants me to call her so we can run through numbers.
Nice.
Um, like you, we took a bunch of vacations. I think back, we took a vacation for the third year in a row. We took a spring break vacation, and
Mm-hmm.
I already started talking to the boys about where might you want to go for spring break 2026.
Love it.
One of the things we're thinking, my uncle lives in South Carolina. We may try to head up there. I've thought about either Destin or Panama City Beach.
Nice.
I've thought about St. Augustine. You know,
We thought about that one too. Yeah.
yeah. And we went to St. Augustine years ago. Me and my wife, we were engaged but not yet married, and we went to St. Augustine and spent 3 4 days right around the beginning of the year, and we had a great time. St. Augustine's a great town for anyone who hasn't been. St. Augustine's a great town. And then in summer, we took our trip to Disney this summer. I am anticipating we'll take some other kind of trip. My mom likes taking us to Disney, and
Sure.
hey, if grandma's going to pay, who am I to say no? And then we just got back The boys got to take their second ever plane ride, and we just got back from Atlanta about a month ago. Went up to Atlanta, went to World of Coke, went to a whole bunch of
Beautiful.
places. Went to that big restaurant out there by Georgia Tech, out in Atlanta, the Varsity. So yeah, we did a lot of vacations. Um, the boys, Tyler is excelling in soccer. He's getting better. His coach is telling me how much better he's getting in soccer. My other one is progressing. He's advancing rank in Boy Scouts. He's becoming more of a leader within the Boy Scout troop. So yeah, everybody down here, 2025 is going to end up. I'm knocking on wood, is going to end up being a good year.
I love it. It's good to again kind of reflect on some of the good things that we did, we've done, the experiences that are tied with the money that we want to spend money on those types of experiences and being able to do them without that guilt or shame or how am I going to pay for it, that kind of thing as well. So it's possible. We can do those kind of things itself, and living within our means is going to be the message when it comes to anything. When we talk about crushing debt, right? We got to make sure
Right.
that we have more money than we do have month. I'll tease the end there, but so again, we'll business wise, I mean, we have those kind of things itself, but like we've had some big news this year. Like what's the news stuff that's been happening in 2025? Let's give like what's one of the big things that I've seen this year has been the inflation, right? Inflation or interest rates or any of those kind of things itself. Like depends on how it's impacting you, but has inflation been an impact to what you guys are doing? I see it in what we buy, right? Groceries, things like that. But like is there anything else that's like kind of keeping you paused or not maybe spending as much because of the inflation word?
I think for me, we haven't really been impacted so much by inflation that I can tell. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, any trip to the grocery store is going to end up, $200 or more. But again, this morning, as I was making the boys lunch, I used the end of the lunch meat, I used the end of the
Right.
vegetables, I used the end of the bread. And so I'm always proud of myself when I use the end of some type of food so that I don't have to throw it
Or
away.
wasted. Yeah.
Yes, I can convince myself that I bought correctly at the beginning of the week. But yeah, I haven't really noticed a lot necessarily dealing with inflation. What I've noticed more is, at least in my business, is business owners whose businesses are not doing well, and they all call me saying, I want to shut down the business, which is fine. The
Wow.
challenge that a lot of them have is that they've guaranteed the loans. So if we shut down the business, you know, Yesner Law goes away. Well, Shawn Yesner individually has guaranteed certain debts of the law firm. And so those creditors say, we're sorry to
You still
see
owe
the,
us.
the business close down, but the owner still owes us the money. And I
Mm.
was using that by example. Yesner Law is not shutting down.
You guys are healthy
Yeah.
and ready to go for many, many years.
We're doing well.
Hmm.
But I just raised that example to say that
Sure.
that in my practice, that's more of what I'm seeing now is business owners who are saying, I want to shut my business down and I can do something else where I'll make money, but I've got all these debts of the business that are now going to start to weigh me down.
Craziness. I mean, so I was talking to a realtor today, and obviously the housing market is that up and down as well. I think it's a buyer's market, the sellers, or is it the seller's market, or is it like somebody's struggling right now? I always get it confused.
So seller's market is when there's more demand um,
So
on the buyer's
so it is
side.
a
So
buyer's market. Yeah. The
right.
the
So
the
a
demand
buyer's
is there.
market means I can get almost anything I want.
Yeah, so the inventory, there's definitely a rising housing inventory that's being discussed. We're starting to see that at the end of the year. I don't know if it's having an impact where it's lowering, the prices of homes. You might be able to get good deals out there, depending on, but I noticed that there's housing that's on the market a lot longer. So we're seeing the
Yeah.
inventory is definitely there where it's not like getting off the listing after a day or two kind of thing. I know I've heard also that rents has kind of slowed down increases, right? Has slowed down a little bit as well. Like it seemed the last few years coming out of, COVID, we'll just say coming out of 2020, it seemed like the rents just been skyrocketing year after year. We're starting to see a little bit of maybe a plateau, but a slowdown that you don't see that much of an increase. It's still there, but it's not as much. So again, if people are trying to move, and again, I would say there's a lot of movement, right? All I hear
Right.
in the news is everybody from New York is fleeing because of politics, and now they're going to Florida or Texas or Georgia or whatever. So there's going to be a lot of people who are looking for that inventory if it does become available. The interest rates and things like that will play into it, but it's going to be, is that something we're going to be seeing as part of, the end of year? That inventory was a big story, and then obviously will it play into what we're going to be doing in 2026?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm seeing in the housing market is a lot of trouble selling condominiums.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
a lot of trouble with condominiums. And especially here in Florida, there was the Surfside Tower down in South Florida that collapsed. And so as a result of that,
Right.
the legislature put requirements in place for condominium units that are 3 stories or higher that they have to stay current on their reserves. They have to do, all their inspections, all their reserve studies, all that kind of stuff. So what that's doing is that's causing all these condos to go back and say, we've been under collecting. We
The
haven't
fees.
kept up with inflation. So now our condo assessments are going through the roof
Yeah.
so that we can comply with these requirements, these maintenance requirements. And so I'm seeing a lot of slowdown in the condo market. I do agree with you. I think rent increases are slowing down. I still think we're at a stage where you can buy a house and live in a house for cheaper than what you rent the house for. And even from a perspective of, even if your mortgage payment's $2,500 and your rent's $2,500, even though they're the same number, if they are the same number, buying the house and paying that $2,500 against the mortgage is building equity, where paying $2,500 in rent is building your landlord's equity.
Yeah.
But I'm not
Not a bad
seeing.
thing in either way. I think
No.
though,
Well, if you're the landlord.
if you're the but one thing that I've noticed, even though like home ownership, I have to say, even I love being a homeowner, right? It's, the definitely my money is going towards the house and the equity, something that I will have for the kids, things like I get all of that, right? The one thing though that I've noticed is if you don't have a good emergency fund, certain things in place, when you have trouble with the home, that's where it becomes the like, man, I wish I was renting because when the fridge breaks, I'm not complaining to the landlord. I'm looking in the mirror and going, hey,
Right.
brother, you gotta go replace
Oh,
the fridge, you know?
talk about money. We'll talk about money challenges, or maybe this is a good segue into some money challenges that we had this year.
Yep.
I had my full foundation repair
Yep. I
that I
remember.
had to deal with that
Mm-hmm.
I'm still paying off. And not it was the foundation repair, it
Yep.
was the irrigation repair to make sure it didn't happen again. It was a plumbing repair because one of the pipes had broken from the house settling. It was a flooring repair because it damaged the flooring inside the house. Um, and so I had all of that back to back to back. And not
Yeah.
only that, but I had to hire a guy to install the flooring. I had to hire the company to fix the foundation. I had to hire the company to do the irrigation. I had to hire the guy to remove the old flooring. So all of that,
Oof.
those were some big.
Yep.
My
That's
savings
how long,
account.
again, you've always said how many years in the house? Seven, 8,
I've been in this house since 2011, so I've been in this house for
more.
14 years.
Geez. So yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like you've been building great equity over the years and you're doing those kind of things, but oh by the way, the foundation is needed. You would think like the roof is like the no, like the floor under you is what you got to
Right.
fix.
Your house is falling into the earth. You need to fix
It's
it.
going into Florida is literally eating your home. We need to fix this home. Oh my goodness. So again, I
Florida.
bought new. But those are things that I have to worry about in 10 years, and
Right.
that's where, like, but I have new home ownership problems, right? You're thinking like, oh, you got a new house, everything is great. It's like, no, the caulking wasn't doing well, or there's a gap in the floor, or there's this is not working, and these kind of things. And it's funny, like you try to get the home builder to fix those things. But of course, like they're like, yeah, but we don't, we're not going to build the perfect home. We're not going to, like this
No.
is this is like they'll fix what they can, and then they're like, yeah, we're moving on. We got to build other, cookie cutter houses down the road and stuff like that. So, yeah, I would say the biggest thing for as a homeowner, and just again, I think all homeowners are in agreement with that. You have to have the emergency fund in place. You have to have
Right.
something there for just in case because we always think of roof, but Shawn has proven to us that even foundation is something you can even think about.
Well, and I know we didn't do an episode like this this time last year, but this time last year or maybe 2023, I don't recall,
Hmm.
23 or 24, I did put a new roof on the house. It did need a new roof. I was noticing the brown spots
Yeah.
on the ceiling inside the house, and so I did
Oh,
have to have the roof replaced. So,
ay, ay,
but
ay.
hey, for anybody that's out there for a house, I've got a new roof, I've got a new foundation, I've got a new irrigation system. Oh, I forgot. We also had to put gutter guards on all the gutters on the back of the
Mm,
house so that because right now the gutters all funnel the water into underground pipes that funnel it away from the house.
sure.
Well, if a tree or a branch or dirt or garbage gets into the gutter system at the top of the house, that's just going to flow through into where the water's being pushed away
Into the
underground, which is just going to clog up the underground pipes. So I also had to get gutter guards put on the gutters the outside of the house.
oof.
So, but
Love it.
yeah, if you had talked to me a year or two ago and said what was your big money issue this year, it was putting a new roof on the house.
Nice.
But if you're in the market for a new house, I got a new roof, a new gutter
Great interest
system,
rates.
a new irrigation system. I got resodded in the backyard. I
Oh
got
my God.
new flooring. I got
We
what
got
do you
you. We
want?
got you. But again, you could also be a landlord and just say it's a great place, and I'll rent you the place for X amount of dollars itself, and you can start earning some income.
Exactly.
One thing I've learned from a business standpoint, so I know we're kind of juggling between. One thing I've learned from a business standpoint, people are like, yeah, I can get that rental that can create passive income. I can get that extra money and that it could pay for itself. And I'm like, it's not, I mean, yes, but it's not as easy. I think
Right.
people have an easy perception of what they can do with a rental and getting that money and using that money, but not realizing like once again, now you're the landlord. So, there's going to be a clogged toilet. There's going to be, a refrigerator that need to be replaced, maintenance for the AC. So it's just, you're thinking like, oh, that whole rent, I can get it, right? It's like, not really. So I think it's making sure that if you're going to do a rental or getting into that kind of trying to get that kind of income, once again, being in a position to be able to do that, right? Good emergency
Right.
fund, having the investment where you're maybe using more cash towards an investment like that. Because if you don't have a renter, now you have two mortgages, not just one. So
Well, and think of it this way: you've also got to figure out what is your occupancy rate. I mean, let's do simple
yeah.
numbers. If you charge 1,000 a month, you have to pay $1,000 a month mortgage payment. So
Hmm.
over 12 months, that's $12,000. And let's say that you rent that house for $1,500, but you only rent it for 9 months.
Right.
Now you're at um, like $13,000 ish. You only made $1,000 profit overall. Or let's say you can only rent it for 6 months out of
6
the
months,
year.
right? Right.
Six times 1,500 is $9,000. at that point you're suffering a loss. You're
Yeah, you know
having to
you're
make up
losing.
the mortgage, even though
Yeah,
even though the rent payment's more than the mortgage payment, you're still losing $3,000 a year because you're not able to cover every month because you're not at 100%
full
occupancy.
capacity, right?
And you've
Hmm.
got to plan around, okay, so these tenants gave me notice that they're leaving on June 1 or May 30. May 31 is when they're leaving, but it's going to take me 2 months to rent it again. So by definition, I'm only getting rent for 10 out of the 12 months of the year,
Yep.
unless I want to go to a more long-term lease. Or what if the tenants don't pay? Or what if
Maybe
the
they won't,
tenants,
right? And assuming they pay every month, that's a good thing. But what if they don't? Because
right, if they
again, we
don't
talked
pay,
about
then you're
inflation and all
paying
these.
me to evict
Hmm.
them.
Yeah, that's a good. No, man, these are things you need to think, and those are the conversations I'm having, right? It's not as easy, but let's look at both both scenarios, see all the scenarios, and seeing what best meets your journey as part of this. Because I think a lot of us think, well, TikTok, it looks popular, just gonna do it, and I'm gonna have the same success, and you just don't realize like it's location, it's your tenants, it's your mortgage. Are you paying cash? Are you paying another loan? There's so many factors to think about when it comes to really understanding and really having this second home and this and then the next home and the fourth home and stuff like that. I've seen
Right.
great success stories, but I've also seen some. I would imagine you, as a bankruptcy lawyer, have seen some crazy, like, okay, yeah, that didn't work, and this is where we're at.
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, I think that's for me, and I don't judge any of my clients. They're
No,
all
no,
they're all in the situation they're in, good, bad, or otherwise. I'm not gonna judge them. But one of the things that I see that is almost common amongst a lot of my clients is that they don't have a plan.
yeah,
They hope. I think I'm going to get that
yep,
bonus. I think I'm going to get that raise. I hope this happens. I hope
correct.
that happens. Where you got to have a plan behind it. So, okay, what if the bonus comes in, but it's not as much as you thought it was? I remember it used to drive me crazy when I was doing closings. I'd have realtors call me and say, "Where's my commission check?" And I'm like, "Well, we haven't closed quite
You got to
yet,
close,
or,
right?
or we closed, but it was a refinance of a homestead, so there's a 3-day waiting period." And I actually had realtors say to me, "I need that commission check because I've already spent it." Well, why would you spend it before it's in your account?
Yeah, that's
Why
again.
would you spend it before you have it in your hands?
Yeah, I mean that's
So,
unfortunate. Yep.
so those are the kinds of things those are some of the warning signs that I would normally
Be
see.
careful. Well, I mean, as you say with like I spent the money already. Another 2025 news thing this year, credit card debt hits record highs for the and yes, that means like balance transfers, payoff strategies, budgeting itself are all growing. There's a surge in buy now, pay later usage that's up as well this year. So I mean, we're seeing some of the trends and that
Didn't
are out there right now. But like, what are we
did
what are we doing?
didn't we talk about grocery stores starting to offer buy now, pay later?
I'm not
Do,
sure. I think you can do it through, yes, I think, yes, you can do it through some of the programs. I think a firm has you have the ability to use it for groceries. I don't know if it's particular like you can go and use it directly with like Kroger's or Publix, but yes, they you have the
so
ability.
I typed it into the great Google, and
Ah, great Google.
a website came up, Hungry Root, buy now, pay later food.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, well, there you go.
buy now, pay later food grocery delivered to your door by Amazon.
See.
Um,
Yeah,
sh-
Amazon does definitely do that.
Shipped came up. Um,
Okay.
Zip, buy now, pay later food and groceries with Zip. Um, I can't even. What do they do? Repossess your potatoes if you don't?
Possibly. But yeah, that's where we're at. Those are up right now.
Yeah.
That kind of thought process. And again, I'm not. There's no judgment, right? We're in this
No.
position where people are
Hey,
struggling. There's going to be some folks who get desperate.
if you need to eat, do what you got to do. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
judging
agree.
or criticize. I'm actually probably more. on the one hand, good for Amazon for finding a way to help people who maybe can't afford to buy, groceries on a regular basis. Good for Amazon and the other companies for putting that in place. On the
Right.
other hand, they wouldn't do it if they weren't making some kind of profit off of it.
There's profit. Yep, there's money to be
So,
made.
so it's also kind of taking advantage of people. So I get it. I don't get it. I like it. I don't like it. I'm very concrete today, apparently. Not
I got it.
wishy-washy today at all.
I love it. I love it. That's it just means that we're in the holiday spirit already and we're just like it depends. We see what happens.
It depends. So one of the things that I'm going to do with my staff, and one of the things that I learned by helping out my son with Boy Scouts,
Hmm.
they do something at the end of every camp out called roses and thorns. And a rose is something that went well during the camp out, and a thorn was something you could improve upon for 2020 for the next camp
For
out.
the next year. Yeah.
So I know we both talked about a couple of roses in 2025. What was one of your thorns in 2025?
So for me, I still, you know, personally, right? So we'll do from a personal standpoint, I feel like there's always more opportunity to save, right? I know we did like no spend challenges in the past and things like that to see if we can save more. But I think for me, one habit that I'd like to really continue to improve upon is having more of that savings in place for that just in case, right? I can handle the emergency and I can handle, some of the smaller things. Again, smaller things, anything under $1,000, I could say. But when we talk about like the big stuff, right? And again, I'm the worry word. Like, what if the roof? What if hail? Hail in, again, hail in Florida.
Hail in Hail in Sarasota. Yeah, it's
So yes, that is me though. That is me. That is I. But that's for me. Those are the things that I'm like, okay, if I can put a little bit more aside, and have that available, I think that'll be good. I think also, for me, like a thorn, um, has been like, how do I help my wife out a little bit more as well? Like I think, and it's not a thorn like she's the thorn. Again, I don't want to, honey, I don't want to sleep on the couch. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is like, how can I help her so that she doesn't have to, work as hard, right? She works
right.
hard for the kids and, for us and the family, the home itself, the things that, like that matter, for us. She works hard, and again, it's like, how can I make that burden a little less for her? And I think that's another thing that I want to try and do in the new year's as well. I think, like what can I do to help? Like, I'd love her to have her little small business thing going, right? Or something like, because she's always worried about other people's passion, and I always kind of like, it'd be really nice to kind of give her that, like, give you an opportunity to go get your passion, go do your thing. So I think
Yeah,
that again, just trying to earn some nice Valentine Days points
there
early
you go.
in the year, but that's again, that's been one of those things that has definitely worried me.
I think my thorn, I think I kind of talked about it, but my thorn, I financed a lot of stuff this year, but I
Mm,
but I kind of had to. So that goes along
well,
with the concept of
foundation, yeah, unless you
yeah.
have foundation money, I get that.
Well, and the other thing I didn't mention was my son. So my older son had to get braces,
Hmm.
and he needed, what about a month ago, he had his oral surgery because he has
Oh
a
wow.
one of his adult canines is growing in crooked, and so they have to adjust it so that it grow. They had to pull two teeth so that it could come in properly, and then they have to adjust it to come in properly. So I had to finance. I financed the braces, and I had to finance the oral surgery. Now, the cool part about the oral surgery, um, they quoted me a price, and the price was to quote three teeth, three extractions. Well, after they had quoted me the price, but before the surgery, my son comes up to me and says, "Hey, one of my teeth fell out." And I said, "Well, save it
Which one?
because it could be one that they were wanting to pull." And in fact, it
Exactly.
was. And so they ended up taking, I think, $350 off my bill because it was a tooth they didn't have to pull.
Nice.
So that was good. But
That's
I had
very
to
good.
find I had to finance everything with the house. I had to finance the braces, and I had to finance the surgery. And I can afford to do it. I mean, I guess theoretically some of these finance payments that I'm making. I've rebuilt savings enough that I could just pay it off. But
Yep.
I think, like you, since I can afford it, I'd rather keep the money in savings because I know, for example, the surgery financing is 0% interest.
There you go.
So I just rather keep that money in savings, growing at whatever small rate. Um, reminds me some money lessons that my kids learned this year.
Mm, yep.
My son got the next statement for his 6 month CD. Both sons got new CDs from some money that they inherited from great grandma. So from that
Yay.
perspective, taught them some money lessons. My son, with all the golf ball sales, he ended up using some of the money from the golf ball sales that we had a couple of months ago at the golf tournament. He went onto Amazon and he bought a golf ball cleaner. So now he can use that to clean the golf balls better to make them more presentable when he tries to sell them again.
Dude,
So,
so that for me, that's huge. Those are
yeah.
huge lessons in regards to the kids, saving money or having their little entrepreneur experience and getting some of that going. So that I love that. I gotta say, my daughter got her first job, first gig as an actress, right? She's playing an act, having
Nice.
her. So that was huge for her. And like she was able to put repairs towards the lemon the car as well, so it's not just us putting into, like she's taking the responsibility of saving up for something that's important and being able to, like spend the money in something that she wants
Mm-hmm.
and that's important to her as part of her, her car, part in the vehicle itself. So I love the lessons that we try to instill in our kids. Got to work. Nothing is free, and if you really want something itself, you learn to save, put some money together, and save it so that you can purchase it yourself. There's a lot of lessons to learn to be able to kind of like, oh, I did that. I was able to save those kind of things. It's hard to do, like we do it as adults. It's like, yeah, why don't we train them to they can do it when they're, when they're the costs are easy, things are
Right.
low. But we want to protect our kids. I get it.
Now, what about from a business perspective? What lessons have we learned in 2025 from a business perspective?
Well, I mean, for me as a financial coach, I am grateful and happy. I've had growth in the number of clients that I'm helping throughout the year. We've had a ton of goals accomplished with the goal, from a business standpoint. Myself, my business, right, being able to like have more clients, have the revenue numbers, have a little bit of a profit, within the business itself, and obviously, keeping my costs down. I got to keep all my shareholders happy, in regards to the business. So I gotta make sure that that we costs are down and revenue is up, kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, for me, goals wise, I've had over, I mean, almost for my clients itself, save almost $400,000 in savings, right? Emergency funds. So that's huge across 20 plus clients, which is fantastic. And we've paid off, which is craziness itself, but we've paid off this year around $600,000 in debt between
Wow.
between the clients. So I mean, for me, that's a huge win, right? And we've got relationships saved, people talk better. So I'm very happy in regards to how the business is going and really just the ability to help folks be a little bit more aware of how to manage their money and not it being such a stressful conversation or discussion. So really,
Right.
really happy about that. And for me, like yeah, I mean, I'm 4 years as a coach, my friend. So something's working. Something is working. So I'm gonna keep riding that wave for sure.
There
But
you go.
how you doing? I know you've had a lot of conversations about that. But what are some of the big takeaways from the business for you this year?
So I think the biggest takeaway for me this year, I I'm almost finished with a book. I am reading a book with this book club that I'm in. It's called Who Not How. And the whole concept of the book is that as the business owner, I should not be the one doing the work. I should not be the how. I shouldn't have to figure out how to get this project done. I should be the one to figure out who can do this project and then
Mm-hmm.
let them do it. And So what I've been really focused on these last couple months is finding where the bottlenecks are in my office and then figuring out who can resolve those bottlenecks. And I don't know if I've talked about this on the show or not, but my one of my assistants who helps me with all my bankruptcy work, we get certain cases where we file them, we bill the client pays us. Well, everything was bottlenecking at me getting the invoices out to the clients. I taught him how to create and send the invoices. And so now he does it. Now I review it. So, ultimately the responsibility rests with me. If he files a motion or a proof of claim or a pleading or whatever, I have to put eyes on it because if it's wrong, it's ultimately comes down to me. But
Yeah.
my time in these files has been reduced to a fraction of what it was before, even to the point where I'm not the one sending out the invoices anymore. So we'll get a referral from the client. I'll forward it to him. About a week later, I review a motion. And then about 2 weeks after that, I get a check.
Nice.
And it's, probably 15 to 30 minutes of work for a check. And so that's been great. I've put additional systems in at the office to better track where the referrals are coming from, better track how profitable they are, better track some of those things. I put systems in the office for due diligence for bankruptcy cases. I put systems in the office to prepare for hearings that I'm teaching the staff. So I created the system. I'm teaching the staff how to work the system, which then is less time on me. And so, especially now where Mondays I got to leave the office by 2 to get the boys by 3, and Tuesday to Friday I got to leave the office by 3 to get the boys by 4. Having these systems in place that it's less work that I have to do has made the law firm a lot more efficient and a lot more profitable.
Nice. That sounds fantastic, actually.
So, I mean, there's still room to grow. There's still improvement to make,
Always.
but it's interesting because I always used to joke that I made more money in the odd numbered years than the even numbered years. And so going into 2025, I was all excited that, um, I'd be making more money because we're in an odd year right now. Ironically, we've done about as well as we did last year.
Okay.
So we didn't have a huge improvement in income. So I don't know. Maybe the trend is switched, and
You're
2026
changing
will
the
be a
trend
great year.
and but obviously let's put our, we're going to talk about 2026 and some of the things that we want to do for next year. But it's okay. Sometimes we thinking like, is there something to it? Odd years, even years. It's like, dude, let's just again, we'll work, we'll do what we need to do, put it out into the universe, and hopefully the universe just responds back in a nice way. That's all we can do. And of course
That's
our
all we can.
clients respond
That's all we
nicely
can
too.
hope for.
That's it, buddy. So, but yeah, man, I gotta say, we talked about, all the other news and tax. There was tax changes this year. We talked about student loans from an episode standpoint. We've done, small business, even hustle, side hustle stuff this year. We've talked about. So it's been a really nice year. I gotta say thank you. I'll say one nice thing to you, per year anyway. So it might be this time of year that I must be being a nice guy, but it's been a great year, man. Obviously, between the podcast and the growth and what we've been doing from this standpoint, really proud of where we are. And again,
Yep.
2026 for you, again 500's coming, so it's a huge milestone for you. And this podcast of what you've built from that day one, that episode one to where you're gonna be on episode 500. So I'm really excited. Again, great accomplishments this year, but looking forward to what the next year and the next few years brings as well.
Yeah, I agree. Looking back on 2025, it's definitely a better year than 2024, and even better than 2023. We had our challenges, but what people, what family, what businesses don't
Right.
don't have their challenges. But yeah, I think overall 2025 was a good year. I am looking forward to 2026. I am looking forward to episode 500. I'm looking forward to continuing growth for the law firm, continuing growth for the boys. We start We start Jacob's bar mitzvah training in
Oof.
2026 for his bar mitzvah in 2027. So,
Yay.
lots, and then again, Tyler starts driving in 2026 on a learner's permit. So, um, I can't believe it seems like this year has flown by, but it's been a fun ride.
It's crazy, but it's been a great. I would agree. Looking forward to what next year can bring, my friend. But I think to all of our listeners as well, have that reflection. Take the time to really like see what's happened this year. I know it's cliche. I get it. It's the end of year. But take the time to really reflect. Look at the good things that's happened. I know sometimes we can reflect on some of the negatives and all of these things that could happen, but I always look at it like, hey, we woke up, we're breathing, we have opportunity in front of us, so let's take advantage of those things while we can. So I love it, I love it, I love it, love it, and obviously questions to ask yourself: how did we do? What can I change, and what can I do next? For me, that's little questions to ask ourselves for the listeners out there, because I think we did a pretty good job today, Shawn. I think I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
I
I
think
do
you're
say so
learning.
myself.
I think you're learning. Close to this 500th episode, I think you're finally getting it. It's
I
clicking.
think I might finally get this whole podcast thing after 493 episodes.
Great job,
Um,
though, man. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we'll kind of wrap it up here. I do want to remind everybody one thing that we are still promoting. One way you can still help us, not only like, subscribe, comment, feedback to us. You can also go to the patreon.com/crushing debt. Any
Mm-hmm.
donation you make there goes back into the show, and that helps us out a lot. So thank you for that. Thank you to all of our friends and sponsors and guests, and we have more guests planned in the future. So that's kind of exciting. Stay tuned for episode 500.
Yes.
Other than that, um, gosh, I hope you have, what is it? I hope you have more money at the end of the year
Ooh.
than more year at the end of the money. How's that?
Well, I mean, let me just say, if that was the case, it probably would have been over in October. But I love it. I love it, my friend. Let's do it.
Cool. So I think that'll do it for this week's episode, and we will talk to you in next week's episode of the podcast.